Yesterday I got the opportunity to actually experience the Australian emerging market panel discussion. It was very sort of an eye-opener. The market is 20 years old, it's saturated. Each of the panelists bashed Australia out. They said the scene is dying, the country has huge problems, publishing is bullshit, club scene is crap, too many festivals. I didn't understand what was happening there. And then I sat through some other panels. I just have a thought that I think I should certainly bring it to the table for sure. You know, we all exist for one reason, and that reason all of us are ignoring for sure. Because I've been through everything we've done here at the IMS this year. We've forgotten about the consumer. Nobody cares about the consumer. The money comes from there. And nobody wants to understand how he or she is feeling. Now, what Nikhil said is spot on. There are challenges in India. You know, arenas, gigs, clubs, I understand all that. But there is a massive opportunity. I just told you, 600 million people, 25. And what has electronic music got? Why did we do this? Why not do live music? Why not do Bollywood music? We did it for a particular reason. Electronic music, there's no language. The universal language of electronic music is energy. And India, that's why we call it the United States. There's a reason I said to Pete, I requested, can we call it the United States of India, for God's sake? Because you take 1 hour flight, you have a different language, different looking people, different food. It's a crazy country. So electronic music was spot on because it's all about energy and young people just want energy. So I feel that and we are doing that because we've got 27 years experience in that space, we got to focus on consumer for God's sake. And this is not about just India, it's about the world. We just don't discuss the consumer. We don't know what he wants. The agents want just the top dollar because, I don't know, we must understand that life is like a fistful of sand. Keep squeezing and you're going to die soon. So are few of us going to make a difference in the planet, or are we just going to, bang in the cash and just bugger off? So my point is that if you really want to make a difference, markets like India, Asia have to be penetrated, have to be thought through with consumers. And if you do so, infrastructure will come by, law will change, everything will change. It's all about demand and supply anyways. So I feel it's a crazy country, land of opportunity, mad people there. You can do things in India that will take you 10 years to do in America. You can do that in 1 month. It's a mad place.
It's very important that firstly, India is open for business, okay? That's very important to understand. The market is there, it's available, it's hungry, and there's loads of opportunity. But when you go in, or when you come in to partner with people in India, it is very important for everyone to do their homework. One of the problems we've had, Pete, over the past couple of years is that we've, like Steve Hogan from William Morris says, anyone with a cell phone and an email ID is now a promoter. And we've had that problem a lot in India where you just send an email out and agents are very quick to book gigs just to get their artist into a territory, get the money in the bank, and it doesn't work out very well because the tours are not planned properly. The promoter isn't really someone who's into the scene or is clued in on how to run a tour or run a gig. And the entire territory gets a bit of a gray area, a gray reputation. So for agents of here, I don't know how many of you sitting here are agents or work with agencies. If you're sending artists into India, it's very important for you, number one, to do your homework, to figure out who you're sending your artists to, rather than just sending them out blindly. Number two, for larger brands and companies that are interested in investing in India, yes, the doors are open, the industry is there, the potential is there. But it's not just about the large events. We're seeing what's happening in America with a lot of big festivals and big events cropping up. It's very important for us to nurture a young market like India. And I say young, even though we've had DJs there for quite a while, but electronic music in India is exploding now the way it did in the UK in the late 80s. And it's very important that when you come in there and do the big gigs with all the big headline artists, that you also nurture an underground scene that creates a strong foundation. And I think Kevin had met with a couple of people.
Let's bring Kevin in on this now, because he's just finished a tour there. And
well, I think actually that's exactly how I was feeling, and that was one of the main things that I came away with.
Also, that's one of the themes of the Australian panel, was that it was all festivals and no clubs, and there was no kind of foundation to it. So.
Yeah, I brought a video, but I think I'm going to skip it because if that's okay with everybody, because I'd actually really love to address what you're talking about, Nikhil, which is that we experienced something for a little while in New York that I went through, and it was interesting to go and see it happening, more than 10 years later in India, which is that you have to really build something from the very bottom in terms of scale. You have to have audiences who can experience electronic music and experience dance music in very natural ways, in the ways that the music is built for, which is often, a dark, small, intimate club with only, 200, 300 people there, and then also be able to experience it on these massive, massive festival scenarios too. And they're both two ends of a spectrum. And I think the one thing that, if there was a top line sort of takeaway that I took from my entire trip in India, is that it's really a land of contrasts, and the entire country really has both sides of every spectrum. You have intense poverty, intense wealth, and tons of development and technology, as well as people who are really trying to participate in the new economy. And the scene, I think, should also carry both of those things. And one of the things that I noticed that clubs were struggling with were the ability to have the authorities there respect and understand that a disco, is not a rave. It's not. I mean, there have been crazy things with police accusing clubs of being brothels or things like this, or drug dens, just in order to be able to close them down because they don't really understand what's happening there. So the audiences are really hungry for something that is the real experience that we've been through in Europe and in the United States, where they can get their hands on music that is not just at the absolute top of the line, but the entire spectrum of what is out there.
How challenging was it to play there when often the clubs were closing before midnight?
In the sets that I played were each shut down early by
before
police
midnight.
showing up. Not before midnight. Before the clubs were set to close at 2:30, and both times the police came and shut it down before then. So I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can explain the different closing times in different cities, but it was a challenge to get people in the door, get them up and moving, and get the night started in time to actually have a full experience before the police could come or before the law said that it had to shut down.
Okay. I want to make sure everyone...
Yes, I just wanted to add to that because there are different ways of working with the government. Like you said, I mean, they have this thing against electronic music because they believe that a lot of stuff happens in there that shouldn't, like Indian people don't do, like alcohol or whatever else it might be. And there is a way to work with
You can say drugs. It's a big
okay, we got drugs.
Okay, we've heard. You're not going to get arrested.
Okay, cool. I'm not there right now.
This is very important. The scene in India is largely driven by alcohol and not by drugs, which is why you get a lot more enthusiastic audiences. And most DJs, in fact, every DJ who's ever come to India has always loved the scene and has wanted to come back because the energy and the enthusiasm that they get off audiences in India apparently is something that's dying across the world.
It's like playing in Belfast then, Scotland.
I absolutely agree. I loved it, and I totally didn't mind being shut down, an hour into my set, because that hour was magic in terms of the connection with people, and that absolutely should be a huge takeaway. That the passion and the emotional connection that people give you in the audiences is unparalleled. I was really, really touched when I played there.
There's an important point that Sunburn this year, which was the 5th year, it was a big year for us. Due to some technical issues, we did not have alcohol till 9 p.m. on day one of the festival. You can imagine it. We had 30,000 people in the arena. No issues.
We sold a lot of Red Bull that day.
Huh? Yeah,
we sold a lot of
we
Red
sold
Bull that day.
But not a single customer, paid customer, had an issue. He just was so happy just being there. And I think, like you saw on the audiovisual, some of the DJs mentioned that India has a very infectious sort of a heart connect. There's a relationship being built, and that's most people that enjoy it. So there is something which comes from the heart there.
Okay.
Sorry, back to the government thing that we were talking about. Building the scene. So there is a way to work with the government. The government does support cultural initiatives. They tend to prefer live music. So we've actually tied up with the government and with the India Tourism, and we do something called the Bombay Bandstand Revival, where we pick up bands and we do gigs, free gigs across the city. And I think the next step would be to involve electronic music in there and seamlessly kind of like sneak it in and let people understand that electronic music is music and it's just not about clubbing and doing drugs and alcohol.
Okay, one other thing I think is important for the overview, just talking to Fatboy Slim and David Guetta recently about their impressions, was that the infrastructure in some of the country makes England look third world. So maybe Theo, you just give us a bit of an overview about where India is at on the technology front and just what the kind of mobile revolution is.
I think it's India sort of leapfrogged fixed line and just gone straight to mobile. So then you put in electronic dance music into that mix. The two have met both at the same time. So there's the technology and also electronic dance music coming together. We've had music services running in India because it's one of our strong markets. We have a dominant market share still there. We've had music services running, I think, 5 or 6 years there, and we're starting to see electronic music really come up through our Nokia Music Unlimited service. We have downloads of about 5 or 6 tracks a second on that, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's growing fast as well. And we're really seeing electronic music pull up through that, and I think the youth market today that you were talking about before, they're not, they're looking at how they can use their handset, how they can build an app that will work on it to make things happen when it comes to the club nights, etc. So, we're really seeing real push forward from us or the customers in that market.
Okay, Tony, I'll come to you now because you like the country so much you named a label after a beach. So do you want to give us your overview of, because you played there a lot, and just from running a label point of view, maybe just where they're at on piracy and stuff like that?
Well, we called our label Anjuna Beats because of the birthplace of Goa Trance, really. And so we were anxious to go there for quite a long time, and the first Sunburn Festival in 2007 was the first time we got a chance to go there. It actually coincided with the 100th release on Anjuna Beats. That's how long we waited to go back. But I mean, we've been seeing people at our gigs from India, in gigs in Dubai and in Singapore. These kids have got money and they can travel and they wanted to come and see us. We've also had a very healthy forum and an online presence right from the start of the label, and people from India have always been very much engaged in that. So we kind of went to India for the first time in 2007 with already a kind of preordained audience, if you like, and that was really, most of the people that were there were hardcore Anjuna Beats fans that we knew from our forum. Fast forward 5 years to the last one that we did, and the transformation was incredible. I mean, we heard a lot of people talking about how many new young consumers there are in India with access to mobile phones and to travel and to music, and that was really my experience of the last Sunburn Festival. And in terms of infrastructure, the staging and the visuals and the lighting and everything else was as good as it gets anywhere. And also what other people have been saying. I mean, the audience really are incredibly enthusiastic. Electronic dance music is second only to Bollywood music in popularity in India, and I think that's extraordinary, really. If you think about the dominance of that music form in the country, we're like the new Elvis in India, and it's a fantastic place to be to play.
I think where's India at with local talent? Because obviously you look at the film of Sunburn, you see the flyers that go up there. It's all international DJs, which is kind of the way it was in America, really, I suppose, 15 years ago. But now in America, there's more and more local DJs that are meaning more around the rest of the world. Where's India at in terms of local talent?
The lineup at Sunburn is actually more than 50% Indian. We have about 60% local talent that plays at the festival, and we've got a very strong DJ pool. But the way the world is moving now, it's very important for people to produce music, not just DJ, in order to gain worldwide popularity. And we have a few producers that are making a mark for themselves out of India. There's Jalebi Cartel, Akshay Sarin's just done an album as well. Lost Stories, Rishabh Joshi and his partner Prayag are making music, and they're starting to be noticed and heard.
He's gone missing, by the way, if anyone's seen.
It's his first trip to Ibiza. I think he's 19. It's
He got
par
lost.
for the course. So it's a matter of time. I mean, we're a nation of geeks, and electronic music is made on computers. It's a matter of time before somebody makes something that's going to blow up across the world. It's just a question of when, not if, and it's going to happen. So we're continuing to nurture that market, both at Sunburn and Submerge, the other label that other collective that I run. There are efforts there to find and nurture new talent. We do a DJ competition that we've developed ourselves with a very